We have a massive update on Ricochet as it looks like he has signed. Yes, signed with All Elite Wrestling. We're going to fill you in on everything we know about the situation. When could we see Ricochet debut in AEW? We're also going to talk about AEW All In. Ticket sales for that show have risen quite significantly over the past couple of days. We're going to give you an update on the number of tickets sold, how it compares to last year, and what the discourse around this is like. And I'll warn you right now, it's not that pretty. All that much more, though, coming up in this video. So be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Okay, so Ricochet is someone we've been talking about for a while. There have been reports that he was likely headed to AEW. That was the original PW Insider report, stated that he had let his WWE contract expire, that he had told WWE officials back earlier this summer that his deal was going to expire and that was going to be the end of it. He was not seeking to re-sign with the company. And then we immediately hear, like, he's expected to sign with All Elite Wrestling. And there's been no word about this for a while now. I would say well over a month. There really hasn't been too much movement on this story. And today we got a big one courtesy of the good folks over at FightfulSelect.com. Here is what Sean Ross Sapp and company reported in an excerpt from the report. Quote, Fightful did confirm that Ricochet is planned for upcoming AEW shows and has a multi-year agreement with the company. Several familiar with the situation claim that Ricochet is traveling to London for AEW All In and was planned for the show. We haven't learned what his planned involvement would be, and there's more wrinkles to this story. That is the takeaway that I'm going to use to talk about in this video, but for the full story and the full article, be sure to check out the link in the description and support the work that FightfulSelect.com does. But huge stuff here. Ricochet signing with AEW, it seems, multi-year agreement, and it looks like it's on. We're going to get Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. Will, you spoke it and into reality. This is amazing. From a personal standpoint, this is amazing. From a newsworthy standpoint, though, this is insane. I mean, it seems like, right? It seemed like for a while that the pendulum, the so-called free agent pendulum, was really in WWE's favor. Earlier this year, many free agents ended up going to AEW. You had, in the span of literally like 2-3 weeks, Mercedes, Will Ospreay, and Kazuchika Okada signed with the company. Then we had a ring of people whose contracts were up and days imminently expiring, like Damian Priest, Finn Balor and company, Seth Rollins, who ended up re-signing with WWE, so that pendulum kind of shifted back. CM Punk obviously came back last year. There's Ethan Page, who came into WWE, Shawn Spears, whatnot. So lately, it's been a lot of, former AEW talent, going over to WWE, and we are finally seeing at least a shift in that trajectory as Ricochet coming to AEW and coming back to face, you would think, Will Ospreay. We think that's a money match. I think we'll talk about in a second. But this is huge news. I mean, and I'm going to get into what I think is probably going to happen. There is a casino gauntlet match that's happening this Sunday live at Wembley Stadium, which I will be in attendance for. And you would think that they would have a surprise or two lined up. And I don't think that there's a better place right at this point to debut Ricochet than Wembley Stadium. Tens of thousands. I'm not going to give away the number. Go fast forward through this video if you want to hear the number. But tens of thousands of people packed into Wembley Stadium. A British audience that is absolutely crazy when it comes to pro wrestling. Loud as all hell. Loudest crowd in the entire world when it comes to professional wrestling. And you're going to have him debut at a big show like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Adds intrigue, adds fuel, potentially helps with people ordering the pay-per-view late or watching on a replay. That's what it's about. It's about pay-per-view buys. It's about interest in the product. It's about all of that, especially during this critical time where they seem to be, imminent as far as signing a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery to extend their television rights. So Ricochet, it looks like, is going to be All Elite. Does he win the Casino Gauntlet match? I don't think so. I think there's a few ways that match could go, but I think the match for him is Will Ospreay. And I genuinely would capitalize on the momentum that he would have coming in immediately. Immediately put him into a feud with Will Ospreay. Whether you want him to face Ospreay at Grand Slam, whether you want him to face Ospreay at All Out in a couple of weeks, I will be definitely at All Out, but maybe at Grand Slam. So either one might work for me. But regardless, you could not go wrong. I think you need to capitalize on it immediately, though, because go back and look at one of the biggest moments in AEW history, that ending of AEW All Out 2021. You had the double whammy with Adam Cole, Bebe, and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Both of them came out, and what did they immediately do with Bryan? They had the dream match. Just a couple of weeks later at Grand Slam, it was Bryan versus Kenny Omega, and it was a beautiful match. One of the, in my opinion, my favorite match of all time. That match had aura, that had everything. I think Ricochet and Ospreay could match that level of energy. And you are having let's be honest here. Right now, the advance for Grand Slam, the Arthur Ashe Stadium show, is horrible. They've sold right around 3,600 tickets for an arena that last year they sold 11,000 tickets in. For an arena, 2 years ago, they sold over 12,000 tickets in. For an arena, 3 years ago, they sold 20,000 tickets in. You need to build intrigue. You need to make it must-watch on a Wednesday night. You're not going to have people traveling for this. But you have a New York market that is there, that is healthy, and that will go see professional wrestling if you make it must-see. Part of the problem with AEW over the past year has been they have not made it must-see. Until, I think, June is when they really shifted the tide in that direction, and they said, okay, we're going back to a formula that works, and it's been a different show. It has genuinely been a different vibe, different feeling. You restored the feeling, bro, all that stuff. But you want to sell tickets to that show, I think that's when you do it. Will Ospreay, Ricochet at Arthur Ashe Grand Slam. That's just my take. We'll see if that's what they end up doing, guys. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think they should do. As we move on to our next topic, let's talk about AEW All In Wembley Stadium, as Nigel McGuinness would tell you. So, one of the biggest, most discussed topics in all of professional wrestling Twitter is the AEW ticket sales for this show. So last year, of course, AEW broke the ticket sold record, or the most tickets sold for any professional wrestling pay-per-view, 81,035. That's what was reported. That's what was essentially confirmed. That is what they were. And I want to be clear, though. That is tickets sold. I know there's a controversy about, well, there were X amount of people who were there, 71,000, whatever. They still sold 81,000 tickets. That's the most amount of tickets anyone has ever sold for a wrestling show. That's just truth. Okay? Moving on. Here's where they stand now. AEW All In, this according to WrestleTix, who does amazing work. Please go support and follow WrestleTix. Setup right now is for 53,800. Then there's tickets distributed. It is not 500,000. It is 50,022. Ignore that 4. It's 50,022 tickets sold, or tickets distributed in this matter. Meaning there's 50,000 people who have tickets for this show. and we still have a couple of days here. They're going to sell more. Like, walk-ups usually are going to, like, range what they are. I could see, like, 1,000 in walk-ups. So they're going to sell some more tickets here. It's going to be well over 50,000 people in there. And if you go back and, like, look at, like, kind of the map, you can kind of see it. The way they have it structured is where the stage is. Behind that, like right now, like there's a big Taylor Swift like stage that's set up that they can't get rid of in the next like couple of days, so they're just gonna keep it up. And it's like a big LED board, so they're gonna find a way to incorporate that, I'm sure, into the look. But behind all of that, it is covered up, and there's gonna be no seats available. But everywhere else, aside from this like hard cam section, they're going to have tickets sold. And I know there's a joke, hard cam. Go watch any WWE show that they have in a stadium that's not WrestleMania this past year. Just saying. Anyway, no. I kid, I joke mostly. But 50,000 tickets, I think people need to realize, is an insane number. That is an insane number for any company. If WWE did it, that would be an insane number. The fact that it's AEW doing it in the same arena, the same stadium, they ran last year, knowing full well that it's never going to live up to the same hype. It's never going to be the same. That first show and the hype around it, it was special. It was special. And I mean that in that you were never going to have the excitement that was around that show like a year later in the same place. You're going to have excitement because British wrestling fans love pro wrestling. They're going to show up, show out, spend money, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, the reality is that what made that show special was it was the first time. It was the first time since SummerSlam 1992, 30 years, that there was meaningful professional wrestling in London. A place that people across Europe can travel to fairly easily, depending on where you are. A place that is accessible, a place that, you know, it in many ways, or at least used to be, one of the centers of Europe. You had people traveling for this show. And by the time they got to like 60, 70,000 tickets sold, and the rumblings happened about, you know, like, hey, they could break the record here. They could break the record. They could, like here's the record. I think you had a lot of people who were buying tickets who may have been on the fence who were just like, you know, well, if they do, I want to be there. I think that played a big role into it. That played a big role in it. And again, this is an accomplishment of epic proportions, to be honest with you. Like 50,000 was the number that I said if they sold 50,000 tickets last year, it would be a raging success. The fact that they were able to do it this year, with especially the year they've had with attendance, it shows something. It definitely shows something. There's still hunger and appetite for this product in the UK and across Europe. Tony Khan also, I want to be clear here, Tony Khan also noted in the media call today, the All In media call, he confirmed the report that they are looking to run a show in Australia in 2025. So AEW, Tony Khan saying that they are looking to run a show in Australia. And there's going to be multiple stadium shows, it looks like, in 2025 when you really whittle it down. You have the Tokyo Dome at the beginning of the year in Japan. That's for Wrestle Dynasty. They're going back to England. Tony Khan confirmed they're going back to England. He did not say where or when. He just said it won't be All In, but they are going back to England in 2025. They are running Dallas. They are running the Globe Life Center in Dallas for All In next year. That's 3 stadium shows right there, and then you also have AEW potentially running a stadium show in Australia. That's 4. The expansion that this company is doing is insane internationally. And right now, like, look, you're not selling tickets like you used to in the United States. Take your big shows elsewhere. Hey, look, take Dynamite on the road. Do a tour. Do a television tour in Australia, across Europe. Make the fans here desire it more. Because you're going to be way hotter when you come back into town if that's the case. We'll see if that's what they end up doing, though. Again, I'm going to be at the show. It's going to be great. Can't wait. Bryan Danielson, he's going to win the world championship. I'm going to cry like a baby. But let me know, guys, in the comment section what you guys think about all of this. What do you think about AEW All In? Are you excited? Do you not care? Are you still waiting to see if your interest is peaked? Let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.